stream, I do a breakdown. Now, basically I take this breakdown that I do for you guys and then I chop it into a video, and that premieres at 7. So if you see something that comes up that says breakdown of day 4, if you're here, you're basically getting the same thing. I just once I am done with my computer at the end of the day, I have no desire to do another video, so I do it at the end of my stream. So today, day 4 started out with some interesting judgments and rulings. Now, if you guys haven't been on this trial since the beginning, right around the first day of voir dire or jury selection, Brian Walshe actually decided to plead guilty to two of the three charges he was facing. He pled guilty to obstruction of justice and the movement or illegal burying of the body. Now, he was looking at between 10 to 20 years for the obstruction of justice and 3 or so years for the movement of the body. Now, I did find it as odd, and I did remark on it on the first day's breakdown, that the first day of trial, his defense attorney came in and asked if he was going to be sentenced that day prior to the trial even going through. Now, the judge did seem a bit taken aback, but she wasn't against it. She just wanted the state to have a chance to get victim impact statements for those two crimes together. But then on further thought and in response to some motions that the defense was trying to push through, basically the defense wanted her to sentence this prior to the conviction or the innocence of the murder charge. But this crime, the relative sentence is different depending on if you did this crime in commission of a life-ending event. So she went ahead and put on the record that she was going to hold off on sentencing because she felt it could create a big issue if she went ahead and sentenced him, let's say to the max, and then the jury acquitted him. She would basically have wrongfully charged him with an aggravator that basically linked it to the murder that he would have then been exonerated for. Now, there was some back and forth about the William Fasto text coming in, and basically the judge went ahead and said that all of the text messages were going to come in. Now, they didn't go over every message or things like that, but the jury will have a chance to see those if they come in. So that's basically all that was. The first witness was William Fasto. He is the gentleman that Anna was having an affair with. He met Anna through her looking for a, townhouse in the DC area for her new apartment down there and her new job. Basically, he really hadn't talked to Brian other than some, phone conferences or teleconferences about different things, with the townhouse. Now, he was pretty open that within weeks of Anna moving for the most part to DC, they became friends and more. So he does, completely admit that they went from 0 to 60 fairly fast. Now, the judge did explain to the jury that all of these things, kind of Mr. Fasto's impressions of how Anna was doing and what was going on in the marriage. Basically, the only reason that this information came in was to give sort of a present sense of mind of what Anna felt at the time of, or right around the time of her disappearance and death. So basically, he did provide his text messages across various mediums to the police, but he did admit under defense cross that he did delete some of those text messages due to personal embarrassment. My speculation is they were dong pics, but any cringy, sexual messages kind of glad he left out of there. But that does give the jury, a little bit more to think about whether they take all of this information, you know, how much store or stock they give in this information after finding out that he did delete some. Now, he indicated that he and Anna had gotten pretty serious, or as serious as you can with their side piece that you're banging. I don't know. And that they had, been talking about meeting after the holidays in order to discuss, their 1, 3, 5, 10-year plans and whether those plans might include them moving forward in a relationship. Now, Mr. Fasto was separated but not divorced with his wife, and Anna was married with 3 children. So they were attempting to, look at what their lives might be about that. Mr. Fasto even expressed reluctance because his separation was fairly new in, having Anna meet his kids and things like that. So it was a bit odd. Again, my verdict is all 3 of the people, Anna, Chris, and Brian all looked like jerks in this entire exchange. Now, it did come to pass that we find out that Brian actually called Chris Fasto several times after Anna went missing. Now, Chris Fasto being, brave enough to sleep with a married woman but not answer the phone when the husband called, let it go to voicemail. And upon hearing the voicemail, Brian asking where Anna was, they did get in contact with each other, and Chris offered to go by the townhouse to see if, there was any sign that Anna was there. He was able to get into the garage with the code, but he was not able to enter the townhouse because it was locked on the inside. He did make note that Anna's Volvo Taos was not in the garage. Now, basically, according to Chris, some of the frustrations that Anna had in the marriage during the summer and into the fall of 2022 were Brian's spending. Anna was the primary breadwinner now, and she would come across credit card purchases that he didn't ask her about, and that did lead to friction. But also there was this implication that, and it was kind of the way he phrased this, so I don't know where the truth meets up, but basically there was an implication that Brian claimed that he was the primary care source for the 3 boys in order to garner sympathy in his federal case. So basically he had gotten parole and certain leniencies because he was considered the 3 boys' main caretakers. And Anna would express, I want my boys to be down with me, but Brian is considered the primary caregiver. And now it was cut off, but it seemed like Chris was going to say that Brian's lawyer had instructed them that this was probably the best way to keep Brian out of prison. Now, again, that wasn't finished and the comment was struck, but the jury still heard it. So if they have functional brain cells, they might put 2 and 2 together and realize that Brian may use and manipulate everything in order to, benefit himself. Now, the next address, or the next person, sorry, I know this. Oh, yes. The next person was Christopher Murphy. He was a painter that Brian had actually contacted. He had done some work before for the Walshes, and Brian had contacted him about the hole in the ceiling, sending him photos. And that was around January the 5th. And then we get into Susan Garland, and she was the owner of the Bar Method gym, the bar gym that Anna would go to when she was in the Massachusetts area. And she, in fact, had had some correspondence as late as 12/31, so December the 31st, about Anna wanting to sign up for unlimited, classes for the coming month because she had planned to be in the Massachusetts area longer. So that was one that the defense really didn't question. Then you had Ashley Simone or Simon, and she was actually the instructor who taught Anna in the very last class that she attended before her disappearance. So she actually taught her at 12 on the 31st at around 9:15. She claimed that Anna didn't seem anywhere, like there was anything wrong. She was her normal self. So that's basically all that we got from her. The next person that came up was Jeanette Cotter, and she was actually someone who just ran into Anna on the 31st. They chatted, getting their nails done. So, just sort of random people, but they chatted about, their kids and work and things like that. So we are able to get sort of an idea of where Anna was going in the last days of her life. Or day of her life. The next person was Julie Bassler. She was, I believe, the manager at the Kindercare Daycare Center that all three of the boys had gone to, and then the oldest boy transitioned out of when he was starting going to public school. But at the time of the incident, the two younger boys were still enrolled there. And she talked about how Brian was the primary person that would be doing the drop off and pickups, though sometimes Grandma, Brian's mother, did accompany them. And she went ahead to talk about Brian was generally, when he would bring the boys in, he would take a detour through the office area to get to the boys' classrooms a little faster. Now, she did make note that the 3rd and 4th of January 2023, Brian went an unusual way. He avoided the office. Usually he was one for kind of a chat and small talk. And on those 2 days, again, nothing that really brought out alarms at the time, but she did, it was out of the realm of normal enough that she did make note of the fact that he seemed, distracted, busy, in a hurry, and kind of deviated from his norm. Now, the defense, did bring up that, hey, did he seem like he was busy? They made a point of asking about backpacks that the boys would bring into school. I'm not quite sure why they went ahead and talked about the backpacks, because the defense attorney made a big point about the backpacks and them having a change of clothes that never really went anywhere after that. We then had Sandra Waldrop Hempel, and she was the manager and maintenance person for the Claremont Hotels near Abington, I believe. I can't even read my own handwriting. She was a hoot and a holler. I loved her. She was a breath of fresh air in the afternoon when you're getting a little tired. She was the one that provided security footage that basically showed the Tahoe, the Volvo Tahoe, going into her apartment complex. And then we have footage of someone who looks a hell of a lot like Brian, parking by a trash can dumpster in the back of the property and throwing trash in there. Now, she did indicate that people from the public are not allowed to just go in there and throw their trash away, and that she knew all of her residents' cars, and this was not, a typical member or resident, and she didn't recognize that. So she gave all of that into to the state. The last witness, and I do believe he'll probably be a longer witness in the morning tomorrow, was Connor Keefe, trooper for the Massachusetts State Police out of the Norfolk District Attorney's Office. He's a cell phonologist, though he constantly looks shocked that he's even allowed in the courtroom. I don't know. His face always looks surprised to me. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There was a lot of very dense information. Now, he was going over the devices, basically the iPad Mini 6, the regular iPad, and then also the Mini 13 iPhone, as well as, I believe, Brian's mother's phone. So he kind of goes down and breaks down all the cell phonology of that. He talks about how he was doing extractions, kind of where he got all of the location data. Now, it is interesting that they were able to locate Brian being very close to dumpsters, and that's what led to them pulling the dumpsters and trash compactors. And it seems like his mother, again, tended to travel in the same areas he did for certain days. I will have to go back and rewatch this footage because I am not the best at directions at cell phones, and I was writing as fast as I can. So I tend to go back and rewatch, especially cell phone type stuff, because I am not great at it. But they did go through a ton of different location points and showed where Brian's phone was located, where certain items were discarded, and where certain items were purchased, such as the Tyvek or the PPE suit and things like that. And thank you, JKD Buck. Norfolk and Waypow. And it's sad because I was born in a Norfolk, so I should know how to say it, but it's been a long daggone day, is all I got to say. JKD Buck, thank you so much. So again, we went through a lot of text messages and a lot of sort of things. Now, the one set of text messages that were only ID'd and I think will probably be brought in by a different person were the text messages between Brian and Anna. Now, he did identify that those were the records that he extracted, but I'm guessing they're going to have another person come in to give those text messages, or there might be motions in limine that I was unaware of that pertain to the text messages between Anna and Brian. So that's probably what we'll be looking forward. That's where we'll probably be starting tomorrow, is my guess. I do hope that the female defense attorney is the one that is helming this cross, because the gentleman defense attorney has the faintest, foggiest fuck how the internet works. And it is painful to listen to a trooper try to explain the internet to Old Man River when I have just enough tech skills to know that this is not how any of this works. So I do hope that at least if we have to deal with that tomorrow, we have a shorter day. The judge did say that she either has continuing education or another trial that she is taking care of on her docket. So on Fridays for this trial, for however long it lasts, that will be a half day. Now, I do want to talk about how Brian is looking. The first 2 days, he seemed to be fairly confident and, kind of chatting with his female attorney, looking everyone directly in the eye. That all changed yesterday about the time that they started showing pictures of what was found in the individual trash bags,